What's up, boys and girls? This is Black and Yellow Movies, and we're here to do another foreign film for you. Today, we're going to do a French film called Raw.
Now, Raw follows a young girl who is a vegetarian during her first days at veterinarian school. And during her first days at this school, she goes through various hazing rituals by the upperclassmen, and they go as far as dumping blood onto these lowerclassmen. Now, this really sparks the catalyst for the film because it causes her to develop a taste for meat.
So this movie, Raw, is amazing. You guys need to watch it. It is crazy because it talks about a subject that we don't talk about or we don't see that often, and it's about cannibalism. So one of the things that we really liked about this film is that it keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're kind of wondering what's going to happen through most of the movie. I mean, this movie is very mysterious and it's very intriguing because it doesn't have a very generic or very set Hollywood story to it.
Right. No, there's no linear plot line that you're really following here, and the mystery of the film is honestly one of its strong points.
I mean, we've watched so many movies that we kind of know where the story is going to end up, right? Or where it's going to go.
There's a few possible outcomes, and you usually are right.
But not with this movie. This movie, it's not random, but there's so many twists and there's so many turns and there's so many surprises to it that most of the time it's very unconventional. You just don't know, where it's going to go next. And I think as you watch the first part of the movie, you start to realize that's what this movie's going to be, and you kind of just sit back and enjoy the ride.
One of the things this movie does beautifully is it builds its scenes really creatively. Now, you might have a certain scene that'll start out and they're dealing with this kind of woman's sexuality, and it's really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. For me as a man, it was a little uncomfortable to kind of watch this intimate, going on between two sisters. So it's just like a scene starts off with something and then it almost tells two miniature stories within the scene, and you leave with something completely different by the time the next scene starts. Movies don't do that nowadays. They don't take those chances. And it's amazing to see a foreign director just kind of embrace that wild side of directing, that kind of unconventional storytelling, and it was beautiful. Another one of the great aspects of this film is in the way it makes you feel. And I love it because it doesn't give you those cookie cutter emotions, like you're not going to feel love or happiness or sadness. No, what you get instead is squeamish, a certain disgust, a kind of claustrophobia that kind of pervades the film. There's a certain scene where, I don't know how the director got this shot, where the girl is like kind of scratching her body and she's beneath the sheets, and the sheets never seem to fall all the way. They seem to almost hover, like levitate above her, but wrap her in the sheet at the same time. And it's this really claustrophobic shot. You feel it, and it's just something that just stands apart from so many other movies that I've seen as of late.
All these emotions are emotions that you don't really feel in a movie that often.
No, you don't at all. They're really hard emotions to convey in a film as well. The bare minimums of cinema, and that's what makes it so great. It's not a big budget. It's not like they're pulling a lot of movie tricks. They're just being, for lack of a better word, raw and honest. They're just doing what they do best, and that's showing human conditioning.
So one of the things that we really liked about this movie is that there's heavy symbolism. This movie actually has a pretty simple story,
right,
but it uses cannibalism as a vehicle in order to really convey the allegories and the symbolisms and things that we go through every day in life. There's a transformation. She starts from a vegetarian. She goes on this journey, and we don't really know where it takes her at the very end. But she goes through a lot of the same things that we go through going to school or growing up. Being hazed, trying to fit in, trying to, not disappoint your family, stuff like that. And these are all things that are in the movie, but they aren't pushed and forced down your throat, because there's this whole subject of cannibalism that you think this movie's about. But when you finish the movie, you realize that it was just a vehicle, and it was really just a way to tell all these very common stories and the very common things that we go through, but in a whole different, fresh, raw way.
Exactly. Perfect name for the movie, by the way. And to tag on to the symbolism and the allegory that this film portrays throughout, it's really good at foreshadowing. They'll show you something at the very beginning of a movie or at an earlier scene, and you kind of go, okay, what the hell is that about? And then an hour, 45 minutes later, it's not so much that they show the same scene again, but they kind of answer the question without so much as a mention of what you saw earlier. And it's just amazing. It's not spoon-fed, but it's accessible without feeling like, you're you're dumbed down.
Yeah, you'll be rewarded if you pay attention to this movie and you really watch it. It's not a movie that you text through or clean your house through or whatever. But you'll be handsomely rewarded.
Yeah, definitely.
For paying attention.
So the dislikes are kind of a contradiction. It's one of those things where the only dislike it really had is what we mentioned earlier. It does make you feel squeamish. It does make you feel uncomfortable. But it's the same thing that the movie does so well.
Yeah.
So I don't like feeling squeamish. I don't like feeling uncomfortable.
Or claustrophobic.
Right.
During the time that we were watching the movie, you feel all these feelings. And you hate it.
You're like,
oh my
this
God.
doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good.
At some point, there was a scene I told you about earlier where I just put my hands on my hair. And I was like, I kept brushing my hair back because I just couldn't.
I don't have that luxury, but I know what you mean.
I just felt so uncomfortable through the whole thing, and I hated it at the moment.
At the moment.
But then after we got out of the movie, after we finished the movie, we were like, wow, a movie can make me feel that way.
Yeah. It executed it very well, but if you don't like those kind of emotions, if you don't like feeling that kind of uncomfortable, claustrophobic, squeamish, I would say this movie might not be for you.
But if you're okay with all those things,
this movie is so up your alley. If you want something not even really challenging, just unique, and watch the movie if you want something that's not conventional.
For our final rating, I'm going to give this a 8.5 out of 10.
Is that the highest one you've given so far?
I don't remember. I'd have to look back on the other ones that we've done. But it's pretty high.
It's up there.
It's pretty high up there. I just think that this movie, what they were trying to do, what the director was trying to do, she did it. And she did it incredibly. I haven't seen a movie that has made me feel these raw emotions so well before. I have to commend this movie for doing it so well, and it's very unique in that way.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you gave it an 8.5. I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. So it's such a towering film because it's simple. It's an hour and a half long, I think. Not long or anything, but there's something so unique and idiosyncratic about the film that it just stands apart from so many other films I've seen in recent years. And that's why I call it a towering film, because it just hovers above so many other films and just its simplicity, but its allegory at the same time. It's just a truly unique experience, and I think that's what people ultimately go to the movies for, even if they go see the big blockbusters that are just kind of like fun popcorn movies. I think what they gain the most from are films like these that are unique, that challenge you as a viewer, and you really grasp more than you intended to at the end.
All right, well, this is Black and Yellow Movies with another foreign review. Watch Raw. You gotta go out and watch it if you can watch it.
If you can. Everybody's got Amazon Instant Video. That's where I watch it. I'm sure you can do it as well.
I didn't mean financially. I meant like more like if you can stomach a movie like this. But yeah, this is Black and Yellow Movies. If you've seen it, comment below. Tell us if you liked it or didn't like it. Subscribe, please. And we're gonna keep coming out with more foreign and independent films because those are ones that we like. What's up, boys and girls? This is Black and Yellow Movies, and we saw the advanced screening for Baby Driver.
So Baby Driver follows a young man who, in his youth, did something pretty bad. He was delinquent, orphaned, and in order to pay this debt back, he becomes a getaway driver.
So one of the things that we really liked about this movie was the music. Music was a huge part of this movie.